Success is not a destination, it's a direction. Too often, we've been taught to think of success as a finish line, as if there's a single moment where we can finally declare, I made it. But the truth is, that finish line is always moving. Every time we reach what we thought was the end, a new horizon appears. Success isn't a place you arrive at, it's the path you choose to walk. Think about the people we admire most, leaders, creators, pioneers. None of them stopped after their first achievement. They didn't sit back and declare victory. They kept moving, kept exploring, kept evolving. Their success wasn't a single outcome, it was their commitment to the journey. When we see success as a destination, we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves. We believe that one job, one deal, one award, or one goal will be the thing that validates us. And when we get there, it feels good, but only for a moment. Then the question arises, now what? That emptiness comes because we were chasing an endpoint that never really existed. But when we shift our perspective to direction, everything changes. We no longer measure ourselves by where we end up, but by the choices we make today. Direction asks, am I moving towards something meaningful? It's not about being the fastest or the best. It's about aligning each step with something that matters to you. This is why purpose is so powerful. Purpose is the compass that gives direction. Without it, success becomes random, reactive, and fleeting. With it, even the smallest steps become significant. A single conversation, a small act of persistence, a new habit. These are not just actions, they are proof you are moving in the right direction. And the beauty of direction is that it gives room for mistakes. If success were a rigid destination, every wrong turn would feel like failure. But when success is a direction, mistakes simply become detours. You can correct course, you can learn, adapt, and still move forward. Think about a ship navigating across the ocean. It rarely sails in a perfectly straight line. Storms, currents, and winds push it off track. Yet as long as the captain holds to the right direction, the ship arrives where it's meant to. Your journey will be no different. So instead of asking yourself, am I successful yet? Ask, am I moving with purpose? Instead of waiting to cross a finish line, look at the direction you're heading. Because the secret no one tells us is that success was never about the end. It was always about the way forward. Clarity beats confidence. We often admire people who seem bold, fearless, and self-assured, but confidence without clarity can easily lead us in the wrong direction. It's like running full speed down a path without knowing if it's the right one. Confidence might get you moving, but clarity ensures you're moving where it matters. When you know why you're doing something, the fog lifts. You don't need every answer, every detail, or every guarantee. What you need is the conviction that your actions connect to something meaningful. Clarity gives you that conviction. It tells you this is worth it, even when the steps ahead are uncertain. Confidence often comes and goes. One day you feel unstoppable. The next you question everything. If you rely only on confidence, your progress will be fragile. But if you rely on clarity, you can keep moving even when your confidence wavers. Clarity becomes the anchor that steadies you through doubt. Think about the difference between saying, I'm sure I can do this, and saying, I know why I must do this. The first depends on your mood and your sense of ability. The second depends on your values, your purpose, your deeper reason. Skills can grow, confidence can fluctuate, but clarity gives every action weight and meaning. Clarity also inspires others. People don't follow someone just because they sound confident. They follow because they sense direction. A leader who says, here's why this matters, can rally more trust than one who simply says, I believe we can win. Clarity gives people a reason to care, and that reason is what moves them to act. In moments of decision, clarity cuts through noise. The world is full of distractions, opportunities, and opinions. Without clarity, it's easy to spread yourself thin, chasing what looks shiny instead of what feels true. But when you're clear, decisions become simpler. You can say no without guilt, yes without hesitation, and keep your energy aligned with what matters. Clarity doesn't mean certainty. It doesn't mean knowing every outcome or having every step mapped out. It means understanding your reason for starting and trusting that reason enough to keep going. Certainty may never come, but clarity makes uncertainty bearable. And clarity has a quiet strength. It doesn't need to shout or prove itself. It simply guides. Even when your confidence shakes, clarity whispers, keep moving. And that whisper is often louder, stronger, and more reliable than any surge of confidence could ever be. Consistency is louder than talent. Talent can impress people in the short term, but consistency is what earns trust in the long term. A brilliant performance might capture attention once, but showing up again and again is what makes people believe in you. Talent sparks curiosity, but consistency builds credibility. When you show up every day, you send a signal, not just to others, but to yourself. It says, I can be relied on. That reliability compounds over time, turning small, ordinary actions into extraordinary results. It's not the big gestures that create momentum, it's the repeated steps that seem almost invisible. Talent by itself is uneven. Some days it shines, some days it fades. Consistency doesn't depend on mood or inspiration. It depends on discipline. It means doing the work even when you don't feel like it, even when no one is watching, even when it doesn't look like progress. Over time, that steady rhythm is what turns potential into reality. Trust is built through patterns. People don't trust you because you did something amazing once. They trust you because you keep showing up. That's why consistency is louder. It speaks in actions repeated across days, weeks, and years. It's proof that you mean what you say, that your words align with your behavior. Momentum is the gift of consistency. At first, the effort feels heavy, like pushing a boulder uphill. But each act of showing up adds weight to your side. Eventually, the boulder begins to roll on its own, and what once felt exhausting becomes natural. That's the power of accumulated effort. It multiplies itself. Consistency also reveals talent in ways that talent alone cannot. Someone might start with less skill, less natural ability, but through relentless repetition, they surpass those who relied only on their gifts. It's not about who has the brightest spark, it's about who keeps the flame alive day after day. The truth is, consistency creates opportunity. The world notices patterns. Doors open for the person who keeps knocking, not the one who knocked once with flair and disappeared. Each day of showing up increases the chances of being seen, trusted, and invited into greater possibilities. And perhaps the most overlooked part of consistency is the trust you build with yourself. Every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you can. That self-trust is the foundation for resilience, because when challenges come, you don't have to wonder if you'll endure. You already know you will, because you always have. Discomfort is the entry fee. Nothing meaningful is achieved without it. Every breakthrough, every leap forward, every transformation requires us to step into a space where things feel uncertain, awkward, and sometimes even painful. Discomfort is not a sign you're failing, it's evidence that you're stretching into something new. Comfort zones are safe, but they are also limiting. They give us predictability, but they also quietly hold us back. Growth never comes from repeating what we already know. It comes when we push against the edges, when we take steps that feel heavier than we're used to, when we do things that force us to adapt. Discomfort is the price we pay for progress. The first time you learn a new skill, it feels clumsy. The first time you step on a stage, it feels terrifying. The first time you share an idea, it feels vulnerable. Yet each of those moments is the gateway to strength, confidence, what makes performance possible. In life, the same principle applies to the discomfort of practice. Learning and persistence is what builds the strength to rise when it counts. Most people avoid discomfort because it feels like danger. But discomfort is not danger, it's a signal. It tells you that you are moving beyond what's familiar, and that's where the real growth happens. Safety keeps you where you are. Discomfort takes you where you've never been. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not necessarily the most talented or the most confident. They are the ones willing to endure the friction, the awkwardness, the setbacks, and the doubts that come with doing something new. They understand that the pain of discomfort is temporary, but the growth it creates lasts far longer. Discomfort is not the enemy. It is the path. It's the toll gate that stands between who you are now and who you could become. Those who are willing to pay it move forward, and those who avoid it stay still. Every step into discomfort is an investment in the person you're becoming. Relationships shape results. Success may look like an individual achievement, but behind every accomplishment is a network of influence, support, and collaboration. The people around you either lift you higher or quietly hold you back. Who you choose to walk with determines the direction and the distance of your journey. We often underestimate the invisible power of relationships. The conversations we have, the attitudes we absorb, the standards we normalize, all of these are shaped by the company we keep. Spend time with people who challenge you and you grow. Spend time with people who settle and you shrink. No one climbs alone. Every successful person can trace their growth back to mentors, peers, or communities that push them forward. The right relationships provide guidance when you're lost, encouragement when you doubt, and accountability when you drift. Without them, even the most talented individuals lose momentum. Relationships also act as mirrors. They reflect back who we are becoming. If you want to know your trajectory, look at the people closest to you. Their habits, their values, their outlook on life, over time, they become your own. This is why choosing relationships with intention is one of the most important decisions you can make. It's not about surrounding yourself with people who always agree with you. In fact, the most valuable relationships are the ones that challenge your thinking, expose your blind spots, and demand your best. Growth requires friction, and the people who care enough to push you beyond your limits are the ones who help you grow the most. At the same time, toxic relationships drain more than they give. They erode confidence, blur clarity, and keep you trapped in cycles of negativity. Protecting your energy sometimes means creating distance, not out of arrogance, but out of recognition that your future cannot be built on foundations that weaken you. The right relationships accelerate progress. Opportunities often come not just from hard work, but from connections. Doors open through introductions, collaborations, and the trust built in community. Relationships create leverage, multiplying the impact of your effort by combining it with the effort of others. Every meaningful journey is shared. The victories are sweeter when celebrated with others, and the struggles are lighter when carried together. Success is not just about what you achieve, but about who is with you when you achieve it. The people beside you shape not only your results, but also the meaning behind them. Adaptability outruns intelligence. In a world that never stops changing, intelligence alone is not enough. Knowledge can become outdated, strategies can become irrelevant, and even the smartest ideas can lose their power. What matters more is the ability to adjust, to shift, to reinvent when circumstances demand it. The most successful people are rarely those who had the perfect plan from the start. They are the ones who learned to bend without breaking. When obstacles appeared, they didn't cling to the old way. They adapted. Intelligence might design the blueprint, but adaptability builds the bridge across unexpected gaps. Flexibility is a form of strength. It's the ability to face uncertainty without collapsing under it. The rigid mind resists change and gets left behind, but the adaptable mind uses change as raw material for growth. What feels like disruption to some becomes opportunity to those who are willing to pivot. History is filled with examples of this truth. Entire industries have risen and fallen not because of intelligence, but because of adaptability. Companies that clung to what once worked disappeared, while those that embraced change survived. The same applies to individuals, careers, relationships, and dreams all thrive when they evolve with the times. Adaptability is also deeply human. We are wired to learn, to adjust, to reinvent ourselves. Yet comfort makes us forget this. We become attached to what we know, even if it no longer serves us. It takes courage to let go of old certainties and embrace new paths. But that courage is what sets the adaptable apart. Being flexible doesn't mean lacking direction. It means holding on to your purpose while changing your approach. The destination may stay the same, but the route often shifts. The adaptable person doesn't waste energy resisting reality. They redirect their energy into finding the next step forward. Intelligence can tell you what should work. Adaptability shows you what actually works. Intelligence fills the mind with answers. Adaptability keeps the mind open to better questions. The smartest person in the room is not always the one who thrives. It's often the one who can listen, learn, and change the fastest. Adaptability is a form of resilience. It transforms setbacks into lessons, uncertainty into possibility, and endings into beginnings. In the race of life, intelligence might start strong, but adaptability is what keeps you moving when the course takes an unexpected turn. Legacy matters more than victory. Winning feels good, but its glow fades quickly. What lasts is the imprint we leave on others. The influence, the inspiration, the impact that continues long after the moment of triumph has passed. Victory is temporary, legacy endures. Too often we chase achievements as if they are the ultimate proof of success. The trophy, the title, the recognition, all of it can be lost, forgotten, or replaced. Legacy, however, is not about the spotlight. It is about the ripple effect of our actions. It's the story people tell about us when we're not in the room. Legacy is built in the everyday moments. It's not only found in grand gestures or historic achievements, but in the way we treat others, the principles we uphold, and the values we pass on. A single act of kindness, a word of encouragement, a decision rooted in integrity. These small choices accumulate into something far greater than personal victory. Victory is about beating others. Legacy is about lifting others. Success that ends with you dies with you. Success that spreads beyond you lives on. The leaders we remember most are not the ones who only won, but the ones who made winning possible for others, who created paths that others could walk long after they were gone. The pursuit of legacy forces us to ask different questions. Instead of asking, how can I win today, we ask, what will remain because of me? That shift changes how we act, how we lead, and how we measure progress. It makes us think less about immediate gains and more about lasting influence. Legacy also demands humility. To build something that outlives you, you have to accept that it's not all about you. It's about planting seeds you may never see grow, about investing in futures you may never personally enjoy. That perspective turns success into service and service into significance. The irony is that those who chase only victory often lose both. They may achieve short-term wins, but they leave no foundation behind. Those who focus on legacy, however, often achieve victories along the way, not because victory was the goal, but because it became the byproduct of a larger purpose. Legacy is not a question of if you leave one, but of what kind you leave. Every word, every choice, every action is writing a story that others will read. Victory may write a headline, but legacy writes history. Rule 0, you define success. From an early age, we are handed definitions of what success should look like: wealth, titles, recognition, status. But those are borrowed standards, not personal truths. The hidden rule is that no external measure can define whether you've succeeded. Only you can. When you let others dictate your definition, you end up chasing goals that may not even matter to you. You reach milestones and feel strangely empty because they were never your milestones to begin with. True fulfillment doesn't come from checking society's boxes, it comes from creating your own. Defining success for yourself is an act of courage. It requires stepping back from the noise, questioning assumptions, and being honest about what actually matters to you. It might mean choosing depth over speed, meaning over money, or freedom over recognition. Whatever it is, it must be yours. This doesn't mean your definition has to be fixed forever. Just as you grow, your definition of success can grow with you. What mattered 10 years ago may not matter now, and what matters now may evolve again. The key is staying aligned with your values instead of clinging to a definition that no longer fits. When you own your definition of success, comparison loses its power. You stop measuring yourself against others because you realize they're running a different race. Their version of success may be valid for them, but it doesn't determine yours. That shift frees you from envy and replaces it with clarity. Defining success also reshapes how you experience progress. If success is living a balanced life, then leaving work early to spend time with family is not a setback, it's a win. If success is creating impact, then helping one person may matter more than impressing a crowd. The meaning changes when the definition is yours. The world often celebrates visible victories, but many of the truest successes are invisible. They happen quietly, in choices no one else sees. Deciding to stay true to your values, to pursue what fulfills you, to live in a way that feels authentic. These are forms of success no award can measure, but they matter deeply. Rule 0 reminds us that success is not a universal formula, but a personal compass. The direction of your life is not determined by applause, wealth, or titles, but by whether the path you're walking aligns with the life you actually want to live.